In 1,000 feet, use the right 2 lanes to keep right.
Hey friends, it is Monday, July 26, 2021. Welcome to Prepare to Go There, the most overlooked and underrated coaching conversation on the internet. I know that's my opinion, but let me preface why I'm convinced that the future deserves our focus today. And I kind of think I'm not alone because I have had so many amazing conversations with friends and leaders alike who really want to better prepare themselves for the future, and they want to be a part of pioneering the future that others want to be a part of. And so that's what this whole conversation is about. It's about self-leadership. It's about dealing with the overlooked and yet necessary process that leaders will have to go on, which is a lifestyle of preparation. And the thing that keeps pulling us back is limiting beliefs and just a overall approach to life that breeds procrastination. So many things we know we want to do or we know we should do, and yet we still don't get it done. And so I want to be learning. I want to be sharing those lessons. And I found that there's a lot of other people that are becoming the kind of leaders that the future needs. And so we want to take this on together. We're already in a great week. I'm looking forward to a lot of big and important projects. I'm going to be in my alone zone this week. I'm going to be taking field trips to the future. I'm going to be doing the weekly wins and the fundies, the fundamentals. So in some ways, it's just going to be a good old boring week. But in other ways, I know that it's all going to compound into some valuable stuff. And my wife and I, Sarah Joy, we just got back we're going on our second week back from vacation. It was an amazing time away. And I really want you to experience an intentional vacation. It is so much different than just a time to sleep and recover physically. What if you could take a vacation where you're already rested physically, and then you can just go hard in those other areas of your life, relationally, personally, emotionally, spiritually, beyond. That's what we experienced, and that's what I want to encourage you to experience. And so I wrote a blog on peterbirchfield.com all about intentional time away. You can look for it. And then we had a bunch of coaching conversations just helping us come back from those scenarios and getting focused again. So if you are saying, hey, wait, where do I find this stuff? How do I check that out? There's a few places. One, there's a link at the bottom of this video, and you can have access to the website, the blog, and then the email community. And that's the call to action I want to give you right now. If you're watching this and you say, I want to better prepare for the future, I want to be a part of a better future, I want to be a leader that's doing the necessary work before it's noticed, before it's recognized, before the results show out. I want to be putting in the work. I want to lead myself so that way others will want to follow. Then I invite you, join the coaching community. This amazing group is what I nicknamed the Future Friends. And my challenge is to get your future some more friends. You need people that are in your corner, that are motivating who you can become, and then also modeling that preparation process day by day. And that's where you can find like-minded friends and leaders that are growing together And we're each playing our own game, but just knowing that we're not alone is really helpful. So future friends, click the link. As a gift, I want to give you a free fail-proof planning guide. It will get you going, and it will help you take that first step, which is being intentional, and help you get started, get better. It'll take you through the high-level questions that you need to clarify what's working, what's not working, put that into some goals and rhythms, and then it'll give you a proven planning process, day by day, step by step, so you can keep coming again and again and again. It's not just a one-hit wonder that you can experience and then expire. It's really repeatable by design, and I needed something like that personally, so that way I could stay agile, not fragile, when so much was changing around me. And it gave me the confidence and the competence to lead myself in a tangible way. So I think we need to have a coaching conversation pretty soon just about calendar strategies, calendar tactics. It's definitely relevant because we're going back to school in a lot of ways. We're going into the fall semester, and a calendar is a useful tool. It's not just for personal reminders. It is the tool that we can use for leadership. It's the tool that we can use to lead ourselves and then to lead others into shared commitments. And it's those commitments, not just our intentions, but it's the commitments we make to ourselves, the commitments we make to others that transform us and that add the credibility that we're going to need for the long haul. So I'd love for you to get access to that. You can download that. And if you can't find it anywhere else, just go to peterbirchfield.com and look for fail-proof planning. That'll be a resource for you. I love talking to the future friends. That's why I keep showing up. I'm going to tell you a funny story in a second. But first off, I'd love to hear from you. If you are watching, say hi in the chat. Please put, where you're watching from. And we're going to get into this conversation real soon. Funny enough, my computer actually went down yesterday. My wife, Sarah Joy, and I are working on a project. It's called Pioneer People. Maybe you've heard of it. Maybe you haven't. And we're super excited about taking on this wild territory called entrepreneurship. We feel that entrepreneurship is an important topic for leaders to understand. And we're kind of living in and out of that season as well. It's one of the parts that we're growing as a couple. And so we just said, let's just share that journey with others. And so we're working on this. We launched it, and then we moved into a new house. And so this summer has been a blur, a beautiful blur. We've had kind of a month and a half of securing and moving into this new home, and then another kind of month and a half of designing it and personalizing it. And if you're interested in how's that looking, how's that going, you can check out Sarah Joy's work, sarahjoy.tv. She's on Instagram and YouTube as well. And you can kind of see all of the progress from that side. But anyways, we came back from the vacation and we said, all right, it's time to lean forward. Let's keep charging. And what do we need to do? And we both kind of looked at each other and we said, we need to work on Pioneer People. And so we're like, yes, finally, we've got the room to run in that direction. And so I had gone through a mildly traumatic experience with my computer already. I was trying to level up for this live stream, and I launched this live stream maybe a month and a half ago. I'm kind of pushing towards 2 months of consecutive live streams. This is episode 26, so it's been a really fun ride already. And I said it was mildly traumatic because kept running out of storage. I kept running out of space. I couldn't move files around, and it was just kind of a clunky process. And I was really just retrofitting how I wanted to work digitally, how much was going to be, actually on my computer, how much was going to be in hard drives, how much was going to be in the cloud, and kind of shuffling all those things around. So I didn't have enough space to do the things that I needed to do. I didn't have enough capacity for this new endeavor. And so figured that out, launched the live streams. They've been going great. And then I think I've even, figured out that I can do better with lighting. I can do better with the microphone. I think I've been recording most of these live streams with the microphone facing the wrong direction. I mean, what an amateur mistake, but it's just part of the journey. You got to get started, and then you get better. You grow as you go, and you won't figure it out until you face it head on. And so kind of got through that that fire tunnel of, trial by fire, so to speak. And I think even that is a metaphor that if you want to level up, if you want to enlarge your capacity for the future, you're going to have to deal with your carrying capacity. You're going to have to figure out, do you have the space? Do you have the bandwidth? Do you have the margin to take on all these new things? Because your operating system may or may not be ready to handle it. So there's a little metaphor in there already. So after I survived that mildly traumatic experience, got through with it. It was really good. And then now we came back after an amazing run in Q2. Some really big wins for our marriage, and just setting some things in place that we have been dreaming about, talking about for a while, and really having that kind of go for it mindset has shaped so much of our story already. So we just want to keep leaning into that lifestyle. And so we came back and we said, okay, what are we going for now? What are we going for next? And so Pioneer People came up as the conversation. So I had actually deleted a lot just to make room for the last adventure. And so I was trying to download some new things, get it back on my laptop and whatnot. And in order to download the software I needed to work on the next project, launch out in the next adventure, I needed to upgrade my system. And so I started doing that, and then it just got stuck halfway. I don't know how that works. It was so frustrating. I don't even know why they put progress bars on these installs sometimes, because you go through an entire progress bar and then it starts another progress bar. It's like, what's the point of a progress bar? It's an infinite reincarnating progress bar. You don't really know where you are in the process, because this is kind of a facade. It's a mirage. It's an illusion of how far you're really getting. Now, technically, if you want to be inspired, if you want some insights, you could probably draw from the metaphor, but I'm getting somewhere, I think. And if not, it's a good introduction, a bit of a Monday monologue here. And so we tried customer support. They were nice, but happy and helpful are not the same thing. And so we ended up driving it in to a physical store and getting it worked on and whatnot. Had to literally part from a laptop overnight. That was it was okay. I was okay with it. And thankfully, because of the last upgrade that I made, because of the last round, when I had worked through some of my digital work life, I was much more prepared for this one. Most of my stuff was in the right places, and I was even prepared to come on and do the live stream without my laptop. And I had some redundancy built into my system. I had all the files, all the videos, all the whatever to make it happen. And so I was pretty thankful, that I had leveled up. I had prepared to do that. And then thankfully we didn't have to go that route. We went in and it worked. And we came back, and even just using some time budgeting made it possible to come back on time. I don't know if you noticed, but when I was doing the IG, kind of calling out, hey, I'm going live, I want you to join in. It was a green screen because we were driving back. I mean, cutting it that close, but it's fun. And so I get here, and then I've gotten this kind of operating system upgrade, and now it won't let me share my screen because I'm going to have to do a thing and whatever. The point is we keep showing up, and I'm not going to have my slides today, but I am going to bring the content for you. And I want to say all of that to lead into this conversation about staying focused for the long haul, staying focused despite the challenges that come up or in light of changes that need to happen. How do you stay focused, not just like in a 30-minute Pomodoro session, but how do you stay focused when you have multiple facets of your life? How do you stay focused on, multiple fronts? How do you continue to make moves and make progress in your personal life, your family life, your work life, your community life? How do you not get visionary vertigo? How do you not get dizzy with your disciplines? Because if we're not careful, we can become frazzled. We can get frayed at the edges. And if we don't know how to stay focused, then moving quickly, which is what we would probably prefer, can actually be sabotaging our sense of progress, worth, whatever. So in order to level up, you have to deal with your capacity, and you have to deal with your operating system. Now, that's not just tech talk. That's lifestyle. That's leadership. Are you dealing with the values that you identify with? Are they intentional? Are they proactive? Or are you just kind of going through life? Are you just reacting? Are you just coming and going? Do you have the capacity to take on the future that you say you value? And that doesn't happen overnight, but that is the journey that we get to go on, that unseen preparation, that hidden transformation. So when we show up ready, and we're not caught off guard, but we really do feel that we have been prepared for such a time as this. Like, even if you get this divine sense of calling to go make a difference, go the distance, you get the download in a moment, but then you have to go through the development and the deployment process for years and years to come. And I think that becomes a fault line in the leadership space. Is most people think that leadership is a switch that you just kind of go into because you're now identified or associated as a leader. You have a title, or you have a role, you have a job, but you may not have the capacity, you may not have the operating system to handle the work ahead, to handle the weight, to handle the responsibility, or to handle the opposition that would come against it. And so I am so grateful that we get boring days like Mondays, that we get unseen time like, our teens or 20s, 30s or 40s or beyond, because we've got work to do. I mean, there's a lot to prepare before we actually go there. And it's not a lifestyle of procrastination by any means. It is saying, hey, I physically am not there in the future where I know I can be, but I'm going to prepare today. I'm going to make it as real and as close to home as possible. And I'm going to be putting in the work day by day by day. And so that's what this coaching conversation is all about. It's not fancy. I'm not trying to, add a lot of fluff. I just want to just keep sending out a signal of encouragement and hopefully some strategy to help the emerging leaders, the future friends, keep going, keep growing, because this is a long haul lifestyle. And if you're not staying focused on your identity, on your capacity, on the things you need to do to prepare, then you're already behind. When you get the invitation, when you get the call to action, you're not going to suddenly rise to the occasion if you didn't first put something in to fall back on your preparation. So what are you doing today that's going to set you up for success another day? And then beyond that, what are you doing today to set others up for success in their day as well? So a lifestyle of preparation is always leaning forward. And that's the kind of focus I'm talking about. The kind of focus we've become so short-sighted that we actually think focus encompasses, a 2-hour movie only. It's not just about being focused in one work session. It's about staying focused for months and years and, dare say, even decades to come. How do we cultivate the kind of resolve, inner strength to go the long haul? And I think going through the actual steps and stages prepares us to carry the load and to excel. So all that to say, I'm cool with, one or a few days off where everything's not perfectly in place. I'm going to keep showing up for you, and I hope you keep showing up for you too. When you are developing focus, you have to realize this is a choice. This is a skill. If you put this responsibility on other people, if you make excuses, I couldn't focus because they were interrupting me. I couldn't focus because I didn't have enough time. I couldn't focus because, blah, blah, blah. Then you have already missed the opportunity to feel truly empowered. Empowerment begins with responsibility. And when you take ownership, then you can begin a process of empowerment. You say, I'm going to find a way. There's not a way right now. I don't see it forward. I don't see a way to get out of this stress. I don't see a way to get out of this mess. But I'm going to pioneer, even if it doesn't exist yet. I'll be the person who will navigate this unknown, and I will find a way to get results. I will find a way to move forward. And hopefully it'll be done with integrity, so that way others will want to follow that path as well. And so when we're developing focus, there are generally two stressful situations, overwhelming conditions that we will find ourselves in again and again. And so it's not just like we cash in some sort of coupon, some sort of merit, some sort of immunity, and we kind of get over it one time. We have to develop a skill set. We have to develop a framework. We have to develop some sort of operating system that helps us stay focused again and again and again. This becomes something very natural. It's not like you get a hand. This is probably a crude example, but unfortunately, a lot of this is unscripted. So you'll have to just kind of roll with that style for now. But it would be like you're in a really tough situation and your vital organs are not operating the way they should. And so for a time, someone or a team have to come in, physically hook up some external systems to your vital organs to keep them going. Now, that's serious. That's a very serious deal. That can save your life. That can keep you going, but not long term. I mean, we're not talking about years. That can keep you going, but that's no way to live. And that's a very serious situation, and it requires a lot of attention and care, and you really have to lean into your values and hope against hope. And a lot of times that's the picture that we are in as friends and emerging leaders. We are expecting outside external systems to somehow come in and fix us or keep us going. And friends, those external systems, whether it's an app or whether it's software, a service, a friend, they can supplement, but they should never substitute the internal capacity, the internal operating system that should be working in you. You should have some agency. You should have some empowerment. You should have the resolve, the mindset, the skill sets to lead yourself. You don't want to be a burden on other people. You want to be a strength to other people. In order to do that, you have to begin to change your thinking and identify, where do I feel helpless and how can I become more helpful? When you take that step towards self-leadership, you begin to lead differently. You're now leading by example, and you're becoming a strength to other people just by the way you live. You don't need a mic. You don't need a crowd. You just live with intentionality and integrity, and people will want to follow you into the future. So working on your capacity, working on your operating system, that is what's cultivating focus for the long haul. And these two stressful environments, these two scenarios that will come up again and again and again, or I'll say this metaphorically just so you can picture it. It's when you get in the fog and it's when you get in the forest. And I can't tell you how many times I find myself in these scenarios, literally weekly, maybe even daily. And at first, when it happens, you're like, oh no, something bad is happening right now. Like, this is it. This is the end. I don't know if I can push through, power through. And either you haven't just gone through this experience enough times, or you're just a little too insecure, but you will outgrow whatever stresses you right now. Like, your stress is not the end of you. The stress is just the beginning of a whole new level, a whole new version, a whole new iteration of what you're capable of. And so whatever you go through, it's an invitation to grow through as well. If you're feeling stressed in a certain area, it's probably because you haven't slowed down and identify a strategy to outgrow it, to outlast it, to outgun it. And you don't have to be intimidated when you are stressed out. You have the resources, naturally and supernaturally, thanks to the Lord, to keep going, keep growing. And so I just want to kind of describe the feeling around these two stressful environments that would rob our focus, that would steal our confidence, that would cheat us from a sense of empowerment, and that would intimidate us to make that traitorous trade of staying empowered and then giving that sense of empowerment away to artificial, temporary, or worse, oppressive forms of help. I don't want help if it's going to hurt me in the long run. And there's a lot of systems that they promise help, but really they're handicapping us. They are robbing our dignity, our sense of empowerment and freedom. And the truth is that we were born to be leaders that can take on challenges. And so our mindset is, if there's a problem, man, that's an opportunity. That is an invitation to rise above the storm, to overcome. And you can't be an overcomer if you're not going through stuff to overcome. All right. Thank you for your patience. We're back. What a timely metaphor of a moment. I literally said, you got to be an overcomer, and got a nice little practice round here with the Wi-Fi. Thankfully, I had a little bit of redundancy built into the system and got to jump back on, which proves the point. Even though we cannot predict what's going to happen, we can prepare for it. So I just want to finish by explaining these two scenarios, because I want you to be focused for the long haul. I don't want you to be intimidated. And I definitely don't want you to default to a lesser version of who you're meant to be. And you're going to have to go through identity upgrades. Absolutely. Thankfully, it's an organic process, and you can level up again and again with faith and patience. And by making that commitment, I'm going to keep growing, I'm going to keep going, you can and will trust that great things are waiting on you and waiting for you in the future. So the first scenario is when you're in the fog. And this is where you wake up and you feel blank. You feel like you're stuck in the mud and you don't know up versus down, right versus left. Everything kind of feels blah, and you're kind of in a fog, right? You don't have the visibility, you don't have the vision that you had before. And so a lot of times this can affect your emotions and your motivation, and you're wondering, what do I do to really like lock in and stay focused when everything is kind of washed out? The other scenario is where you're in the forest and you're in motion, you're on that journey, you're exploring, you're pioneering, you're expanding, you're making moves, and there's a natural adrenaline that's coming with the motion of the day. But you kind of, I don't know, hyper focus, and you get kind of caught up in so many actions that you lose your perspective, you lose your clarity. And at that point, you start feeling lost, and you start feeling you are making moves. You're just wondering how strategic those moves are. You feel like you're kind of running a treadmill, like you're running around, but you're not actually going to new places. And focus is actually the answer for both of these scenarios. We've got to stay focused through the fog and in the forest. So whenever we are in that fog, we need vision again. We need clarity again. And the temptation is when you're in the fog and you just don't know what to do, and you feel wiped or you feel blank. It's very demotivating. It's very discouraging. And you want to quit. You want to roll over. You want to procrastinate. You want to fill that void with lesser activities, with time wasting activities. And you just kind of waste your day away. I really want to challenge you to slow down and get the clarity you need again. And what I found is, just like the fog, it will subside, it will lift, it will dissolve. But the question is, are you going to fade, or will the fog around you fade? And so do not leave that moment, that space. Whenever you feel like you're in a fog, you have to press through. Maybe you're going through a workout and you're just not feeling it, and you feel kind of blah, and you don't know what you're going to do, and you're just kind of like, this is pointless. Don't leave. You have to show up again and again, and you have to lean forward and even fail forward if you can, if you have to, because the fog will lift. I promise you, friends, the fog will lift. And focus is going to help you power through the fog. Now, what are you always looking for? You're looking for that next step. And that is the strategy. You are trying to strategize a few steps that will help you move forward. So you're just asking, what's the next step? You're not trying to get all philosophical with it. Whenever you're in the fog, that is the worst time to try to come up with some big picture plan. You're in the fog. You don't know what's up or down. What's the next step? Because we don't want you to get knocked out of the ring. We don't want you to quit and go home. We want you to keep going for the long haul. And that kind of focus requires you to take action. That kind of focus says, what's the next step? And as you take the next step and the next step and the next step, and this is just trust. This is a trust building process. As you just trust the process, as you trust your own instinct and the guidance that you're drawing from, you are going to find a way forward. And without it, you will quit. But if you will remain consistent, remain committed, what is my next step? And you take that step, next step, and you will feel clarity, you will feel momentum, and you will gain a sense of strategy. Now, in the other side, you're in the forest, and it's totally different than the fog. It's a totally different experience, and it requires a totally different strategy. The answer is still focus, but you have to deploy it a little differently. When you're in the forest, you know exactly what needs to get done, and you're feeling overwhelmed by all the things that need to get done. You say, man, I'm here and I need to get there, and I'm like in motion. I feel like I can't stop. I can't slow down. I can't breathe. I'm just booking it. And your pace is becoming a challenge. And you're like, I don't know how I can keep up. I don't know how. And you get in that kind of hurried mode, that kind of frantic mode, whatever. You have got to summarize where you started, where you're going, and make sure that you're still on track. You have to summarize where you've been so that way you can get to where you need to go next. And it's an emotional thing to tap out and to take that break, take that time out, and to recalibrate and to say, I don't know if my process, the way I'm approaching this day, this project, this team is effective enough. So how do I become more effective? How do I skill up? And how do I stay focused on the overall journey, the overall strategy, and not just all the stuff I'm doing? And this is where we can get in a regular work grind. And you're saying, I'm being consistent with my content. I'm being consistent with my team. I'm being consistent with my one-on-ones. I'm being consistent to find leads, but I'm not really pushing the needle far enough in the direction I want it to go. You're doing all these things, and they may be good things, but how does it work in the bigger picture, the strategic level? And without that strategic input, you're not going to be able to stay focused for the long haul. So when you're in the fog, what do you need to do? Take action. Just find out what's the next step. Stay patient. The fog will lift. Don't get flustered. Don't get frustrated. Don't quit. Just keep making moves, even if it's one step at a time. Even if it's one day at a time, the fog will lift. When you have more clarity and you've got stuff to do, places to go, you're seeing it, you're moving fast, but you're just wondering if you're still on track. That's where you need to slow down and say, like, okay, I'm taking action, but maybe I'm not getting the traction that I need. I might be missing the forest for the trees here. And I need to zoom out, and I need to kind of summarize where I've been and where I'm going, and make sure that the long haul journey, the high level view, is still looking good. So in some ways, you need to zoom in, like when you're in the fog, and you need to say, what's my next step? Like, I'm not trying to go for a 3, 5, 10-year plan here. I just need to take some action and just break the atrophy. I just need to get in momentum again. I need some visibility, and the fog will lift. And then in other times, things are moving quickly, but you're not appropriating your surroundings. You're not really enjoying the moment. You're not really living in it fully. You're doing a lot, but you're not really happy, and you need to zoom out and get better clarity, better perspective. So this is just some of the ongoing, ever-growing leadership development that hopefully will help you. We are going to help you develop some actionable focus so that way you are not being detoured, you're not being delayed, and things that have been taking a year to get done, we're going to get them done in, a lot shorter. I would say within a month. And it's very possible a lot of times we're just being indecisive and we're not confident or competent enough to commit in an actionable way yet. And so we kind of vacillate and we hesitate, and then we end up procrastinating, and we're saving face kind of, but we're really losing a lot of time in the process. So instead, I want you to be secure. I want you to be decisive, and I want you to be skilled in the journey you're going on. And hopefully this has been a help to you. I appreciate you. Thank you so much for checking this out. Keep going, keep growing, and we will be back tomorrow with another round of Prepare to Go There.